So Skip, you've said that the most important skill for a youth minister, youth leader to have is relationship. Can you train relationship? How do you help a youth leader with that?
Yeah, obviously I have met people that are exceptionally relational and gifted, and it was not because of anything you trained them to be or do. And you and I have both met folks who really don't have a relational bone in their body, and you're not going to turn them into Dale Carnegie stars in a 2-week program. But I think everybody is capable of leaning into their relational gifts or doing better, and so therefore to some extent improvement can be trained. And I would say that I'd focus on the following things. It is common for a youth minister to think of their job, not universal, but too common to think of the job is, I run a youth program, I show up at the church on Wednesday night at 5:30, I sent out information about the meeting, I was there, I was friendly and relational during the meeting, that's my job. And I have been relational. Of course that's not the way relationships work. Relationships are kind of an accumulation of thousands of little tiny moments, little ephemeral moments that then weave into strands and then cords and then ropes by repetition. And so one part of training a youth minister in relationship is breaking them out of the idea of I sit here and they come to me, and into looking for ways to create appropriately bounded contacts outside of the 45 minutes, hour and a half youth group meeting. That looks like birthday cards, that looks like little cards of encouragement, that looks like showing up for the school play, that means going to the sidelines for sporting events, again in well-bounded circumstances and situations, as well as being available for, in the right context, counseling or responding to folks. This is where the gold of relationship happens, when you manifest an interest in the life of the child beyond the church and actually enact it. The second that can be trained that's related to that is there can be a little sense of the kids expect me to be in their lives when they're here, but they are really not so interested in me showing up out of context at a school play or calling them about an event that's coming up. And I think that's a natural reluctance, and we do need to be attentive to boundaries. But I think kids are open to the relationship. I think they're hungry for the relationship, and we should not be insecure about manifesting our interest in their lives in healthy ways. I remember I was a 41-year-old when I first started youth ministry, and I was really reluctant to go to the soccer game. I thought it might be a little creepy for this 40-year-old guy to be in the stands. I went to the game. I sat with the moms. When the girls ran on the field, the girls in the youth group practically threw their arms out of their sockets. They were so happy that I paid enough attention to their lives that I'd go to a soccer game. And I got to talk to the moms the whole time and create relationships with some of the most important people in youth ministry that there'll ever be. So this getting over the notion that I shouldn't be in their lives beyond the four square of the meeting, that's important. Making sure that even a shy youth minister is equipped to understand the full suite of different ways to healthily use social media, email, again, in healthy, bounded ways, and then doing it as a discipline. There's both the information, what can I do? And then there's the kind of accountability, did I do it? There's a real reluctance in churches, and certainly often employees, to have to account for how many contact points did you make this week in terms of sending out a card. But you know, there's an old saying, we do what we count. And so not only creating information about ways to stay in connection with the group, but creating accountability structures so that people are actually in relationship instead of just defaulting into the one time a week. I think that's important. The last thing I'd say is, for the shy person who doesn't feel that comfortable either reaching out, or they feel particularly intimidated in reaching out to some of the more socially gifted young people who are more comfortable than they are by the encounter, there are two things to be said. One is, you know, maybe it's the kid who isn't usually socially gifted that you can create a relationship because you share their shyness. And you have an immense gift to give them by coming alongside the kid who's more like you. And the third thing I'd say is maybe create space that it isn't about you being charming, it's just you being open to the Lord's Spirit moving through you. And just being present and trusting that God can make something happen out of your good intent, not your charm, is enough.
Yeah.